But let me come to what you spoke about your father. For our younger listeners, the new generation, they are probably watching the J&K election completely bereft of the knowledge of what happened with your father. Can you tell me a little bit about the background, about what happened when your father was assassinated, your initial years where you were part of the Hurriyat, where you were part of the separatist movement too, and then you're moving away from that agenda of separatism. Give me a little background about all that.
You see, my father was essentially mainstream. He started his career with Congress. There were those young Turks, Kashmiri young Turks, who believed in mainstream politics, and at that time others would boycott. And then he became a minister, and then he made his own party, and in 1987 the elections were so blatantly rigged that he bid goodbye to mainstream politics once and for all, and he was convinced that there is no scope beyond a few families, there is no scope in politics. Same is the case with Jamaat Islamiyah. They left the mainstream field. They used to fight elections. Then there was the MAF. It was alliance of many parties. They left the mainstream. My father left the mainstream. So there was an exodus of all that what you call opposition. And over a period of time, within a short span of time, I think that got transformed into separatist politics. Gun came in. It swept everything. There was a romantic version of gun. The backdrop was always 1987. The backdrop was always rigging. Then my father was a part of the Hurriyat conference. He was the founder, and he was supposed to be a moderate voice within the Hurriyat conference.
He never picked up the gun?
No. He was old. How could he have picked up the gun? My dad died at the age of 72, 73. He was an old man. We were young.
Did you pick up the gun?
No, I have not picked up the gun.
Did he ask you to pick up the gun?
No, he did not. He never asked anybody to pick up the gun. I once asked him that, he said, I will never, because I haven't asked you, why should I ask anybody else?
Did he ask you to become an activist in the sense of a stone pelter?
My father has never supported stone pelting, never ever. तब तो होता भी नहीं था उतना. In those days, stone pelting became much more common later in the day. So he was not a typical, he was
assassinated in 2002?
Yes, 2002.
You were a student then?
No.
In London, right?
No, I was there. That was when militancy started. I was in London.
Okay.
Well, I came here and it started. The moment I came in, it started, and it was what has happened. And it started slowly, and we were initially, to be very honest with you, we were as much a target as anybody else, because every mainstream leader was a target. It was a tough time living here those days, very tough. But, we did stay here, stay back. The entire family stayed back, and my father was in jail in Jodhpur.
When you're saying stay back, what was the option you had?
I could have gone to Delhi, I could have gone back. When I came here, I had a contract for chartered accountancy. Back there, I had to go back. I didn't. I just stayed back. A chartered accountant from London in 1989 was very good.
In the 90s, there was also the migration the Kashmiri migrants were told, the Kashmiri Hindus there was an exodus. Everybody left out there. Was there any conflict in your father's mind at that time about what happened, what Jagmohan Ji did, give the safe passage, told the Hindus to leave, Kashmiri Pandits? Was there any rethink, was there any regret in the Hurriyat's mind?
When my father died, a journalist came up to me and said that just 5 minutes before his death, he wrote something and gave it to Mir Wais Umar Farooq. So I went to Maulvi Sahib and I said, did my father give you a slip? He said, he did, but I lost it. I said, what was written? He said that it was written on the slip, that if you can, please raise a slogan of Hindu, Muslim, Sikh Ijtihad. Those were his last thoughts when he died. This is as real as it can get. My father had a lot of Pandit friends. Even today, in some camps, you'll find Pandits having his photograph. Our house in Jammu, he gave it to Pandits. There were his Pandit friends living there for at least 10 years. He was there, he ran to Jammu with them to be with them. He arranged vehicles for them, whosoever were behind. If they came to him, we want to leave. And like my teacher, Mr. Ravi Kaul, my father went to his home and said, "Sir, what will you do, Kaul Sahab? Things seem bad. Do you want any help?" So he was not one of those guys who was against pandits or wanted to kill pandits. No, no way.
And what about you? When you joined politics, what was your view about Hindus and Muslims living in Kashmir?
For me, Hindu and Muslim is same. I have absolutely no difference. I am a new generation and I have imbibed it from my father. For me, it makes no difference. Absolutely no difference. Unlike people in the rest of the country.
But you were a separatist at one point of time, no?
Yeah, but separatist doesn't mean that they kill Hindus or they kill Muslims.
I'm not saying kill necessarily, but to create a Muslim majority or a Muslim only state?
I don't believe
You didn't believe in
No,
that?
I don't. I'm a secular to the core.
Okay.
You will never ever find a statement from me remotely.
Sajjad Sahab, the Hurriyat was supported by Pakistan. It was supported with man and material. It was supported ideologically. You were aware of that. Tell me, at what point did you feel that I'm uncomfortable with this situation?
No, I was never comfortable. They were never comfortable with me right from day one.
The Pakistanis?
Yeah, never. Because when my dad died, I, in the heat of things, issued a statement that X agency, let me not repeat it now.
You did, because Farooq Abdullah and you, both of you, you I can well understand as a son, but even Farooq Abdullah, who was on the other side, even he blamed Pakistan for the assassination of your father. That was one incident. I'm talking about your complete politics. You knew about it.
Never, no, but I was never, ever, never. Nobody can ever say that I had any relationship with them or anything. I was always, I like that country. They're nice people, but given the chance, I'm with India. I'm not with them. I've never liked them. In the sense politically, my wife is from that place. I have a lot of friends there.
Where did you meet your wife?
I know this was an arranged marriage. It's not, but
Does she live here or?
Oh, she lives here. There was a time when she was denied visa for 3-4 years. So at that time she was not living here. Otherwise she lives here. And
but she's a Pakistani passport holder.
yeah, she's a Pakistani passport holder. Yeah, that's what.
Is that difficult life?
Samita ji, look, like the way you said, they say you are close to BJP. That's when they come to Kashmir. Kashmiri politics, I'm supposed to be very close to BJP. But when they go to Delhi, they tell the policy makers, for heaven's sake, father separatist, father-in-law separatist, wife Pakistani, kuch to socho yaar, isko do what you do to others, don't give him any space.
No, what I'm saying is, that I've understood, but what I'm saying is that, is it difficult when you're in airports, when you are...
Very difficult, very difficult. If I am with my wife, immigration par आधा घंटा लगाते हैं, half an hour, अच्छा कैसे, क्या, वो, ये. If you want to know, I know you will not like it. Nobody will like it.
That's okay. As a journalist, I don't expect my guests
to say. That's where
say...
you lose out. When we go with an Indian passport to Pakistan, when they see as a Kashmiri, they say, go. That's what it is. So that's the whole difference. आप प्यार बहुत करते हैं, खर्चा, you spend so much money, everything, but that small thing.
But you know why they do it, right?
No, why should I know why do it? No, you can tell from a mile whether somebody is a terrorist. I can tell from a mile you are.
No,
not.
but in the sense they're welcoming you, or they say get lost.
No, welcoming.
So you know why they do
5 seconds, they don't take 5 seconds. I know it will be controversial, but they don't take 5 seconds to maybe anybody.
But Sajjad Sahab, they'd love you to be part of them.
That's fine. Why don't you guys love to be part of them? If she's a wife of an Indian citizen, why don't you show that
Why
dignity?
would I want to be part of Pakistan, no?
No, you don't get me. When I am coming back to my country and my wife is a Pakistani, let her know that how much my country loves me. Because I'm an Indian, they say, okay, fine, you are Indian, you are ours. Koi problem nahi, aap chaliye. But if somebody does not have an Indian husband, it's fine, you can make them wait. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Is that...
To some extent, I understand it's difficult because I've met many couples like this, Indian Pakistani, who face this issue. But at the same time, to expect India to behave in the same manner as a Pakistani does, Pakistan is the one which is employing terror against India. 3 wars fought over Kashmir. So I would presume, and India hasn't done that, hasn't been aggressive towards Pakistan either through terrorism or through the 3 wars, right? So it would have an impact on the psyche, no?
I don't, look, I'll tell you something. Civilian is a civilian. I don't think we should involve civilians in politics or whatever. Terrorist jo hai, terrorist is an enemy for all. And if this, I'll tell you, I had the guts. I spoke against a certain agency. You know,
I know.
Call a spade, but I am a pacifist. I honestly believe that, you know, like in the Western world, in the civilized world, we should, you know, have a lot of freer, friendlier immigration. They, when they know when I'm there around, and they say, "साहब आपको कहीं देखा है?" तो ऐसे मैं serials में काम करता हूँ. So the point is that it's not that. If you want to know, Farooq Saab recently made a statement and said the reason Sajjad left PAGD was that the BJP government was not extending his wife's stay or something. The reality is it's not extended till date. She's on a temporary stay, which has to be, I think, extended every 45 or 30 days. So the states, he said that this is the 2 years back he left, and that's true. 2 years back it was, not, it was temporary.
Since you have a personal stake in it, let me ask you, Farooq Saab keeps saying India and Pakistan should open talks. The BJP government says no, not yet. Things are not conducive. What do you say? Because you have a personal stake in it, you're also a politician from Kashmir. What is your view?
Sumita ji, I'll tell you something. I have been a student of conflict. I've studied informally, not very formally. What I believe is that conflicts per se are not resolvable or irresolvable. Kashmir, or this whole thing, is not unresolved because of lack of solutions. Resolving conflicts needs leadership and statesmanship. It's the statesmen who create history.
Where are you seeing statesmanship? Do you see
both sides? It can't be on one side. एक हाथ से तो ताली नहीं बजेगी. It has to be on both sides.
दूसरी तरफ तो कोई है ही नहीं ना.
It's been a history for 70 years.
नहीं, there have been governments. वहाँ पे
Musharraf era was an opportunity, certainly. Let's face it. That was a great opportunity. I don't think he was asking for anything geographically.
You're talking post Agra.
Yeah, he was
or
not,
during Agra.
Post Agra. I don't think he was asking for anything. We could have walked away with a great solution. But anyway, I'm saying in the future, maybe next 20 years, 40 years, 50 years, the moment statesmanship, there is an element of statesmanship on both sides. What will it take? 10 days? 1 month? 1 year? It will be resolved.
You know, you spoke about nepotism in the politics of Jammu and Kashmir ki यहाँ पे जो भी politicians हैं, basically binary situation we are looking at, and they all have uncles, aunties and people like that. What is your relationship? It's been love-hate kind of a situation. You've also been in government with the PDP. What is this situation right now? Where are you placed?
I'm not a part of the elite club.
Are you equidistant from both?
No, I'm equidistant from both. It's just that I don't go against PDP. I've worked under her, Mehbooba ji, and we had a family relationship also. Mufti Saab was a friend of my father during Congress time. They worked together as ministers, and then I have worked under Mehbooba ji. So I have a lot of differences with her, but I feel a bit odd having worked under her and then going after her. That's where it comes that way. But I'm equidistant, and I'm certainly not a part of the elite club. So I'm out of it.
Why do you keep saying that?
It is an elite club. Of course it's an elite club. What do you think? These BJP leaders, they make these statements against them. Are we kids? Or are they kids? Don't they know it helps them? Every single statement that BJP makes glorifies National Conference. Mainly, because they issue most of the statements against NC. There is a sentiment here. There is a sentiment which they know.
तो अगर वो जब गुपकर गैंग कहते थे,
मदद होती है, इनकी वोट बढ़ते हैं.
तो अगर उस गुपकर गैंग में आप भी होते तो आपको मदद
If you know anybody, I will pay them. मेरे खिलाफ भी 1-2 दे दे. क्या बात कर रहे हैं? But are they kids? They know it helps them. I'm telling you that whatever you see is only a part of the story. There is certainly something sinister.
So there is a grand
today a senior leader issued a statement that militants are helping them, ex-militants or whatever. ये तो ex-militants को घर नहीं आने देते, but it will help them in the public perception. They won't shake hands with any ex-militant because they're elites, right? But he made a statement, it will help them, 100% it will help them. So don't think, it's not being done unintentionally. They are great politicians. They have captured, they've got almost 2/3 majority once, I think last time. They got more than 300 seats. You think they are so naive that they don't know that this statement actually helps them, glorifies them.
So you think that demonizing the Abdullahs and the Muftis is something the BJP does to help them?
100%. 100%. Or else they have to be...
So then one would tend to think that they are going to be part of a post-poll alliance?
It could be. As I told you, in Kashmir, in the name of national security, every
permutation
combination, every political, whatever, murder of democracy, everything is possible.
Huh.
No questions asked, nothing at all. So I'm not blaming anybody, but all I'm saying is that on one hand, for example, take me, I'm always in the firing line. कि ये तो इसने बोला मोदी बड़ा भाई है. All I said is that it was a very informal meeting. He treated me like an elder brother would. 3 बार मैं मिला हूँ उनसे. That's it. I can bet my life. Farooq Saab must have met 300 times. Umar Abdullah must have met 350 times. And I'm saying as late as maybe a month back. If not him, then his top official. But, the last I met him, I don't even remember. When I think it was at the all-party meeting, when all of us were there. So they create these things about us. And as I told you, there is an establishment which doesn't accept I'm an outsider. I'm a total outsider for them. I don't have I'm not the right pedigree, The pedigree is bad as per them, the political pedigree. कि नहीं mixture है थोड़ा.
नहीं, पर आप पेडिग्री की बात करते हैं. अब तो इंजीनियर रशीद इज ऑल्सो फाइटिंग इलेक्शंस. तो किसने पेडिग्री देखी? अगर इफ ही कैन फाइट एंड जमात लीडर्स आर फाइटिंग,
आप मेरी बात सुनिए,
तो उनकी पेडिग्री तो
आप मेरी बात
खराब, इफ आई मे यूज द वर्ड खराब.
आप भी इधर हैं, अल्लाह करे आप भी जिंदा हो और मैं भी हो. वी विल टॉक अबाउट इट 10 years down the line. We are all running on the treadmill, barring those two. Rest everybody is on a treadmill.
एक्सप्लेन.
इधर ही होंगे जहां आ जाएं, आगे नहीं जाएंगे. देख लीजिए 5 साल बाद, 10 साल बाद बात करते हैं. ऐसे ही एक रिकॉर्डेड इंटरव्यू है, देखिएगा.
What do you have to say? How do you see this, that ex-Jamaat leaders who are...
It's very good. I actually like it. देखिए Smita ji, what has happened is, I call it a victim and a victor thing. There are victims in Kashmir, there are victors in Kashmir. Victors, in a bad sense, are those who killed. It could be from the terrorists killed, and even from the security forces. At times there have been violations. And Umar Abdullah or Mehbooba ji or any other, like there was governor rule for a long time, or there has been governor rule in the last 5 years. They have presided over everything. Everything good they have presided in during their tenure. And if any killing has taken place, they have presided over that also. So what has happened, the mainstream is packed with victors. They have never been in a jail. I have been to a jail. They have never been tortured. I have been tortured. The Jamaat, most of them that you see, must have been tortured, or their children must have been tortured, or they must have spent years in jail, or their colleagues must have spent years in jail. So they know what it is like to be a victim. They understand the pain of the victim. But what has happened in the last 30 years, that whenever a real victim tries to enter the mainstream space, the victors collude together and call them collaborators. That is what has happened to me, and that is now what they are doing with Jamaat. That is what they will do with Engineer also. That's what they will do with everybody else.
Collaborators.
They will call them collaborators. अब पढ़ लीजिए, बयान पढ़ लीजिए. Umar Abdullah, the foreign minister in Vajpayee government, is raising suspicions about Jamaat. We have nothing ideologically in common with Jamaat. They have always voted against us. They will always vote against me. They will prefer voting for an NC than me. We have been ideologically apart, right? But they have seen a lot of pain in the last 30 years. And the mainstream parties have been at the forefront in dishing out that pain to them. Now, they talking about or issuing sermons or certificates is stretching hilarity a bit too much, you know. That's a bit too much. Thodi to sharm honi chahiye. Up today, just as I was coming to see you, there was another statement that ab independents are also BJP. So Jamaat is BJP. Hum to hain hi. Now independents are also BJP. So what do you actually want? A one horse race. That it's only you will go and nobody else should be in front of you.
हाँ, तो I can see a number of articles also which say that the entry of independents and Jamaat and all have muddied the waters because it is confusing. मतलब it was easy जब बाइनरी होता था, या तो PDP होगी या NC होगी, और कांग्रेस किसी को सपोर्ट करेगी इसमें, एंड ऑब्वियसली NC को सपोर्ट करेगी, और अगर BJP थोड़े बहुत आते हैं नंबर्स तो PDP को सपोर्ट करेगी. That the understanding was that it's binary, but now with so many independents, everybody taking part in the elections, muddied the waters is
that has increased your polling percentage.
Is that good or bad?
Polling percentage, why should it be bad?
No, what I'm saying is that so many people taking part.
What is good for the rest of the country is good for J&K. If you're not confining it and making a two-way race in the rest of the country, why should it be a two-way race here? And why shouldn't we have high polling percentages? ये जितना भी आपका कचरा है, once you have 70-80% polling, this will go. You will have a clear political space.
आप कचरा किसको कह रहे हैं?
नहीं, people who win because of a boycott.
ऐसे नहीं छोड़ने वाली मैं. You can't just throw words and expect कि मैं नहीं पूछूंगी.
People who win because of a boycott. So people who used to win because the polling percentage was 5%, 10%. आपको 1,500-2,000 वोट में MLA मिले हैं, फिर मंत्री भी बन गए. So point is that you will have now people who will have to get at least 25,000, 30,000 votes to win. Normal average was around 10,000, 8,000. हमारे areas में होता था, like I got 30 to win. The person who lost, he got 25 and he lost. While as in his party, there were 6 MLAs who together polled, I think 26. So ये बेचारा 25 लिया और हार गया. And there were 4 or 5 MLAs, I think, who together polled less than 25. That's how it is, you know.
But nothing has changed, right? Since the abrogation, we kept hearing, actually since the past almost 10 years, the BJP keeps saying, ये जो 3 परिवार हैं, you know, and of course, people in Kashmir said, यहाँ पे तो 2 ही हैं, but the BJP sees the Congress party, led by the Gandhi family, as the 3rd परिवार. तो यहाँ 3 परिवार, they are the ones who decide the future of Kashmir, and that will not happen anymore. But you tell me, as a Kashmiri politician, is it still those 3 parivars?
पहले मजे की बात बताऊं. When we were in jail, they all said that, they said 3 parivar, you are the 3rd one. So I was very happy and I said, okay, I'm an elite now. Until on the 3rd day, they cleared it's the Gandhis, and I was back to my old poor self. अच्छा मैं नहीं हूँ, बड़ा मूड खराब हो गया उस दिन. But no, it's not those 3. Now many people have come. Many more people have come. They have joined the race. So I think you will see never faces. It is tough. It will be tough for us. It will be tough for everybody.
You talk about arrest, that period. Why were you arrested? I can understand where NC and PDP leaders were arrested. What was the threat seen from you, do you think? आपको क्या बोला गया था उस वक्त?
It was only my workers who were sent to Allahabad and Agra.
बाकी सब यहीं श्रीनगर.
बाकी यहाँ थे. मेरे workers को भेजा के. I told you, I'm just a punching bag. Everybody comes and gives a punch and goes, because as I told you, I'm bereft of any help from the traditional establishment. I don't have anybody to fend for me. Nobody issued किसी ने मेरा नाम नहीं लिया उस टाइम में कि ये भी बंद है. I felt very bad. They named everybody, the opposition parties, barring one. आप देखिए कभी मेरा नाम नहीं बोला होगा. किसी ने कोई नाम नहीं बोला.
Where were you locked up?
मैं SKICC में था बाकियों के साथ.
Okay.
So I was not in the elite club like that कोई मुझे solo नहीं था अलग. I was like everybody else. And
क्या था, एक कमरा था?
nee, it was good. I have seen worse. I have seen Gogoland. I have seen Interrogation. This was much better than that. I was the guy who would console everybody. अरे यार ये तो मजे का है, enjoy करेंगे. I have seen jail. I was under BSF. I've seen torture. Allah maaf kare. What I have seen in 90s, this was nothing.
What happened in the 90s?
When I was arrested, it was very bad.
Why were you arrested?
I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's why they released me after 45 days. तब था 1991, I think. It was not 90 or maybe 90.
Peak militancy.
Peak militancy में था. It was peak militancy and...
Where were you picked up?
बरज़ला, मेरे घर के पास ही. उसमें उस वक्त यासीन मलिक भी था, हमीद शेख भी था. There were 9 people, but only 3 were militants, 6 were civilians. So I told them that I've just finished my education, I've come back. I'm new, I've just come here, 3 दिन हो गए. So how could I be possibly be involved? मैं तो यहाँ इनसे मिलने आया था जो मकान मालिक हैं.
क्या हुआ था? ब्लास्ट हुआ था?
No, ये हुआ. They raided the place. It was all guns and everything else.
Hizbul?
No. The BSF. तब थी ना BSF होती थी.
आपके पास क्या था? क्या
कुछ नहीं था.
हथियार थे? क्या थे?
नहीं, nothing. That time was different. You could raid because Yasin Malik was there upstairs. He was there. They came after him. So I had no idea he's there upstairs. तब तो ये hideouts होते थे ना. बाहर simple सा घर था, बैठे. You never knew you could enter the wrong place.
तो आप अंडरग्राउंड थे उसमें?
नहीं. मैं ब्रिटेन में पढ़ता था.
नहीं, पर आपको पकड़ा क्यों? आपको लेके क्यों गए?
अरे तब कौन मानता था? इफ यू आर इन द, अगर आप 1 किलोमीटर में कहीं होते तो पकड़ के ले जाते थे. Those are very tough times, very very tough times. They wouldn't listen to you. The very fact that you are in the vicinity means you are a part of them. So that was.
So you were taken, and what were they trying? What information were they trying to take up from you? मारा आपको?
समिता जी बहुत मारा है, बहुत मार खाई है. और पहला वो बंदा था, वो तो आधा घंटे मारा, ऑनेस्टली आधा घंटा मारा. एंड इवन पकड़ते वक्त दे sort of beat us very badly. But then they were asking, then I told them, for heaven's sake, why do I don't have a clue, I've just come. आप चेक करो मेरा पासपोर्ट, मैं यहाँ था ही नहीं. How would I know anything? तब तो फ़ोन नहीं था, मोबाइल नहीं था. How would I have? And then they said, okay, then there was a very...
Your father was there at that time?
My father
He was alive?
He was in Jodhpur jail at that time.
Oh, he was also in jail?
Yes, he was in Jodhpur jail. बहुत सख्त जेल थी. Very, very, very...
You were not married then?
No. I had just come back from Britain. I had finished my undergraduate, economics, and I used to speak with a slight accent. वो बोला ये अंग्रेजी
वो सही करते हैं इसको.
चल तेरा एक्सेंट सही कर देते हैं पहले so.
Let me come to the 2019 arrests. For a long period of time, the senior politicians जो arrest हुए थे, they were like अभी छोड़ देंगे, 1 महीने में छोड़ देंगे. What were you going through at that stage? Like, did you have any inkling before the arrest कि ये होने वाला है? It was, some people are saying हम बिल्कुल डार्क में थे, हमें पता ही नहीं था कि आर्टिकल हटने वाला है, 370 हटने वाला है. We didn't know. We knew कि कुछ होने वाला है, but we didn't know this. Did you know?
I had no idea. It was only when I went to the Raj Bhavan with Mahbooba ji and others. She came to my home and we all marched there. वहाँ शक हुआ कि कुछ तो होने वाला है. तो गवर्नर साहब नॉर्मली जॉवियल होते थे, तो थोड़े
सत्यपाल मलिक.
He was a bit sort of, we had a bit of an hot words exchanged and not really hot, but थोड़ा बहुत हुआ. So I could tell that he is not in a good mood. तो but by the evening you could tell very somber mood outside with clouds and you can tell something is about to happen.
But itne security forces had been moved 24 hours before that, so you knew that something is happening, right?
In Kashmir, when security forces are moved like that, you think it's a war. That's what they say. We thought koi jang to nahi karni hai, and we did have an idea that something is happening. They have extended it by 10 days or something. And
जंग होती तो बॉर्डर पे होते ना इतना तो.
Charu, they had done it on the borders. They also overdid. It was more of a psychological warfare than an actual thing.
Okay.
Samita ji, I'll tell you something. Everybody has a right to script their policy of law and order and other things. But somewhere in maintaining law and order, perception should not go that these are not your own people. That's the perception I got at that time.
That you are not part of.
Yeah, that they are not, they don't treat us like their own people.
But that's always been the sentiment that Kashmiris have had, no? Regarding India, regarding Delhi.
I think
Most Kashmiris.
No, there is a lot of change. You have to see the subtleness.
Ab.
Pehle tha that Kashmiri probably didn't want to be a part of India. Now it seems that India doesn't want us to be a part of them. It's
What
like,
more can India do? Tell me.
4-5 थप्पड़ और मार दे और क्या करेगा? क्या बात कर रहे? What? अरे, forget the hype and other things. People are
ये hype कहाँ? There's peace on the streets. There's sports going on.
enforced peace. I pray.
When have you-
I pray and pray and pray. I have young children that it is eternal peace, that it is peace for all times to come. But I don't think, 5 years with you, and we've seen in elections unique results. In the next 5 or 10 years, what monsters you will come out with, I don't know.
Sajjad Sahab, is it that you have, Kashmiris have stayed so long in conflict that जब peace आता भी है तो you don't want to face it कि ये हो सकता है? Is that it?
And tell me one thing, what if there is any other state like Gujarat? You send me there and I start lording over. I'm the new Raja and you are nowhere. No Gujarati will be in any top position. No Gujarati will be anywhere. I will decide what they have to do. And then when I know that I'm a tourist, I'll be going back after 1 or 2 years. How would you feel?
You're talking about the governor now.
I'm not talking about the governor. I'm talking about the administration. It's packed with people who are not inhabitants of this place. Forget us, Kashmiris. They don't even like Jammu people now. They actually believe they have gone this disease that they don't know. We will do the job for them.
फिर अब तो सरकार आने वाली है आप लोगों की.
ठीक है ना, 5 साल क्या किया? What was 5 years? And what if I tell you that some people think that since we are a Muslim majority state, we are not being trusted? How can you justify a UT for such a huge area? Is UT meant for huge areas? And then you have a Supreme Court which makes a judgment which does not give us our statehood back. But at the same time, the judgment is so cleverly crafted that it does not become a precedence. They don't endorse it, means they cannot use it in any other part of country. They can't do a J&K relegation to any other place because Supreme Court has not given its endorsement. But at the same time, what a judgment. They don't give us our statehood. We don't get our statehood back. They don't comment on it, negatively or positively, because if they do positively, then it can become, you don't like person X, UT बना दो.
नहीं, पर सबने तो कमेंट किया है, इंक्लूडिंग द होम मिनिस्टर, इंक्लूडिंग ऑल पॉलिटिकल पार्टी, सबने प्रॉमिस किया है कि जैसी सरकार बनती है स्टेटहुड वापस ले आएंगे.
I didn't hear that. They say at the proper time. I don't think they ever said that.
अगर पीसफुल इलेक्शंस होंगे तो उसके
What
बाद.
agar? It's not a matter of charity. We are a part of the country. How can you say agar? That I honestly believe is autocratic. What agar? Why should it be agar? It is our right. We have the same rights as people from Haryana. Why isn't anybody telling them? This doesn't work, this muscular policy that I will decide for you. How can you decide for me? I might be good, I might be bad. You can't remove the constitutional contours because you don't like somebody's economic performance. Say, I don't like the economic performance of Government of India. Are you going to remove them? So, Samita ji, you have to treat us a part of your own.
You said we are just like Haryana. Before that you said you compared about Gujarat. Is it that now you as a Kashmiri accept that you're like every other state, or do you still believe कि special status होना चाहिए?
Why would वो लाडलापन है? Why would I, if I get my लाडलापन back, if I am special, who wouldn't you want to be special? आप देखिए ना.
वो तो नीतीश कुमार also wants special status.
तो दे दीजिए. What's the big problem? That is in fact the future. Liberal federalism is the future of my country. That's what I believe. I swear by liberal federalism. You can't have centralization as is being done today. You can't have a centralized command economy, command political setup. How can you have that?
Under the constitution now, there is no special status. This is what the other states
Special
have been
status
told.
तो आपने इंडिया में नाम रख दिया. It's called federalism. These are federal relations. These are federal solutions. And they have been in play for the last 300 years. Yeah, article, you've sort of named Article 370 and every citizen of country thinks that it's some conspiracy against them. It is, who wouldn't
It's
like?
a separate flag. It's, you have a Wazir-e-Azam. वो सब तो था ना. Constitution अलग था. हर चीज.
I'm not a great fan of nomenclature, but who wouldn't want to be special? A separate flag, उसमें क्या problem है? कर्नाटका का नहीं है. Doesn't make them secessionist. They have a separate flag. There are separate emblems. You know, this is, look at Britain. वो कितना liberal है, वो कितना ये है. Look at China. There is no democracy.
कर्नाटका में separatism नहीं है. Even though they have a separate flag, nobody swears by a separate constitution. They don't swear by a separate flag. The flag is there and it flies below the Indian flag. It is the identity which has. Anyway, there's no point comparing the two situations because literally apples and oranges. But when you talk about the special status even of the political parties in Kashmir and about how you feel left out at times, and there is an aura of suspicion when anybody deals with you, is what you are saying. But is it literally like doors are closed for you with regard to collaborating or being part of a government in October if the NC gets a majority, NC Congress comes, or if the PDP comes with a majority? Are doors completely closed for you from their side and from your side?
No. You see, the future government will decide by arithmetics. First of all, I can tell you now it's going to be a hung assembly. I can bet with you now. Tall claims are fine, but it's a hung assembly. And either they will decide or I will decide who I will go with. So I think it's the latter. So, वो तो numbers decide करेंगे. We can sit in the opposition if that's what it is. I would love to be in the opposition. I've always been a rebel. I would want to be a rebel on the opposition. But if a chance comes where we are there, but I, for one, would always want that the new government should be broad-based, should be unambiguously secular, and should undo all the laws that have been changed. All those alterations and insertions, they should all be removed.
You know, you were talking about federalism, more federalism. Do you, like Rahul Gandhi, believe India is a union of states? Do you agree with that concept?
No, I don't know in what context.
Nomenclature कह रहे हैं आप.
Nomenclature, but federalism.
More rights, more federal rights, and.
Yeah, I would have thought, yes, more federal rights, because I believe that, decentralization, deregulation is the norm. You can't, look at our economy. When we deregulated, when we decentralized, when we liberalized, where we are today, I remember in 90s, we had to ship 20 tons of gold because nobody was willing to lend us even $1. And look where we are today, sitting on a pile of what? I think $700 or $800 billion or 500, I don't remember the actual amount. So liberalization, decentralization does have its, and there's a lot of academic evidence to prove that, whether it's administration, whether it's, management, leadership, organizations, or economy, decentralization is the norm.
What do you promise to the people of Kashmir now that you're going to election mode and it's picking up pace? What do you promise to the youth of Kashmir? What can you bring to the table different from what the other parties bring?
Oh, totally different. We are going to release our manifesto. It is not a very big document, but we do things differently. If we say that we are going to increase X, we will write that how much it costs and how we will fund it. We don't throw figures in the air just for the heck of it. So that's one thing. And then we talk of things, we talk of a culture of, an enabling environment for private sector, an enabling environment, because we don't think there is an enabling. We talk of a minimum wage structure, because there's a huge exploitation across the country, in fact. where highly educated young men and women are being hired at rates which are, humiliatingly low. We talk of those things. We talk of tourism and horticulture being the mainstay, the engine of the economy for a very long term, and the service sector. We talk of focus on these three sectors and how we can build on these three sectors, and how we are far behind yet. We have not grown, and those type of things.
What about this Public Safety Act? BDP and the National Conference say that they will revoke it. What do you say?
I can understand PDP saying it, but I can't understand National Conference saying it, because Sheikh Saab got a massive mandate and he put in PSA. Now they want a massive mandate to repeal it, but in the intervening period, around 10,000 people have been jailed with no recourse to bail, nothing at all. And such is the cruelty of this act. And even if you sit in front of it, there is a tribunal which then decides, or there is a board or something which decides. Say you are released, they can put it next day, one more. Again you're back. By the time you reach this stage, tribunal stage, it takes 6 months. Or you go to a court or get it quashed. I will say thousands, hundreds of crores in terms of legal fees for lawyers, broken families, broken dreams. And then somebody saying, vote for me, I will abrogate it. I will revoke it. When it was your party, your grandfather who got it. And not even a hint of apology. Remotely not even a hint of apology that I'm sorry or we are sorry, nothing at all.
Sajjad Saab, your father has seen Sheikh Saab's politics. You, in the past 30 years, have seen Farooq Saab's politics as well as Omar's politics. Omar has often given comments that sometimes he's inherited his father's enemies without people understanding his politics. You've seen 3 generations and between your father and you. How do you see Omar this time? Has he come out of the shadow of his father's politics, or is Farooq Saab still the karta dharta of the NC?
Can I say something? I will tell you a small story.
Ji.
There was a coffin chore in a village. तो हमारे यहाँ दफन करते हैं ना, we don't. So he would take the body out and take the coffin and then put it back. When he was dying, he told his son, I have done this bad thing all my life. Please do something that people pray for me. So what the son did when his father died, he would take the body out, take the coffin and put the body there. The people would say that his father was a janti. At least he would put the body back. So that is the story there. Farooq Saab, made Sheikh Saab look like a hero, and Omar Saab will make Farooq Saab look like a hero. To be very honest, we thought Farooq Saab has a thing about not speaking the truth or other things. But Omar Saab is a master, He has mastered the art much better than him. So this coffin chore thing tells it all. So uske baad aap dekh lijiye, aap kaise isko.
But it seems like Farooq Saab jo hai, wo thode flexible hai with regard to his politics, whereas Omar is not. Is that the case?
I don't know. I'm flexible. I haven't to be. I don't know. I haven't.
Have they reached out to you ever?
No. They reached out, and I have been with them in PAGD for some time. That's it. We don't have a social relationship. Basically, I don't have a social relationship with them.
But in the situation of a hung assembly, they will need all the support. Are you willing to support?
I can support anybody, but that time will tell. But as on date, I'm going to fight them. So I will have to focus on fighting them at the moment.
What is your stand on Kashmiri Pandits returning to the valley?
Oh, I'm the greatest votary. I will give my right arm for it. They belong to this place. It's not the normal dialogue that we're incomplete without them and this and that. We are. I actually believe it. They're a part of our body. And let me tell you, some of the closest people in my life are Kashmiri Pandits. Even today. The closest, the ones I trust the most in my life are Kashmiri Pandits. That is how I look at them.
Then why didn't you, all of you, and I mean everybody, why didn't you all just stop what happened?
Do you have any numbers in 1990 when Pandits were brutally killed? Do you know how many Muslims were brutally killed at the time? 30 times more. It was not only the Hindu who was under attack, it was the Kashmiri Muslim also who was under attack.
Sure.
But you need a heart which bleeds for both, not for one. So वो भी तो मर रहे थे ना. पहले तो उसको मारा, मुसलमानों को ही मारा ना. 5-10 तो for the first 10-15 killings were Muslims. Then Tika Lal Tiplu Saab, and then Justice जो जज साहब थे, I'm forgetting the name, in fact his grandson was my class fellow. And then some other, I can tell you, my eldest brother-in-law, trust me, he retired as an IAS officer, he is no more. He was very spiritual. He had a friend who was killed, who was his colleague. For 2 years he used to get nightmares because he would appear in his dreams and tell him, why did you guys kill me? You know, that was the level, that was a love. Unfortunately, with so much of pain around, with so much of bloodletting around, this love, this emotional attachment somehow gets drowned, somehow gets lost. I think, if you ask Kashmiri Muslims, 95% would want them back to be in the midst of us.
जब abrogation हुआ तो उस वक्त many of the leaders in Kashmir said, oh, now what's going to happen is resettlement हो जाएगा. Resettlement के बहाने it will be like Palestine. यहाँ पे colonies बन जाएंगी and outsiders will come and take. वो तो हुआ नहीं. Do you feel?
उसके लिए पैसा बहुत लगता है, उतना है नहीं अभी आपके पास. तो
But you think intention है?
शक होता है कभी, to be very honest with you. Because I'll tell you, I love my country, but at times we do very stupid things. For example, I'll tell you very honestly, India in the Muslim world was always seen as a role model of being able to take along a huge number of Muslims. All of a sudden, our role model is now Israel. We want to prove to the whole world that, look, we are bigger enemies of Muslims than Israel. I don't know why we are doing it. We have millions of people in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, and the way they treat them there, they're their darlings, the Hindus and the Muslims from India. Why are we doing it? There are some, as an Indian citizen I'm talking, not as a political leader. I have a small party which may not probably foreign policy is not my subject, but as an Indian citizen, there's serious flaws in our foreign policy. Why should an India, a syncretic India, a great India, a democratic India, act as if Israel is its role model? Why? Why are we becoming party to anything that if they have genocidal intentions? You see, I'll tell you something. I saw a movie about the time, when Hitler was there. I'm forgetting the name, an amazing movie. I swear on God, I've cried whole night. The sight, and they used to get those real pictures, where they were checking those for 9-year-old, 8-year-olds. They used to have the mark here, and then they would gas them. I cried the whole night. I always believed that they're the most wronged wronged race on earth. Look what they've done to him. But the same set of people actually doing the same thing to others, I feel so bad.
But do you ever think that will happen to Kashmiris in India? शिनाख्त अलग बात होती है, शिनाख्त परेड अलग बात होती है, but
मार तो हमने भी बहुत खाई है. To be very honest, you have not seen. I have seen the interrogation center, and it's not that I'm not being anti-BJP or something. They were not there at that time, in 1990. It used to be, all we could hear was, moans, crying. It was चारों तरफ से शोर होता था मार पिटाई का.
But India almost lost Kashmir at that stage. In the 90s. It was that situation where Kashmiri Azadi wasn't a concept which was just discussed. It was almost happening. Pakistan, you remember Benazir's speech. You know what the role played by international community at that stage. It almost was there. And then things changed around. But in the 90s, Kashmir was almost lost.
हाँ, मारा भी बहुत है, to be very honest with you. मार बहुत खाई है कश्मीरी ने. Samita ji,
is that Azadi concept over, Sajjad sir?
No, I don't think it's totally over. It's gone underground, but it's scare. It was going until you came with a muscular policy. It was going to go away. It's going to fade for all times to come. Muscularity has given it a longer lease of life, but an invisible lease of life. It is there, but you can't see it. But we can feel it as Kashmiris. It's somewhere there. As politicians, we know it's... The tone of my interview should tell you that there is a problem.
तो ये जो पीस है, ये फ्रैजाइल पीस है आप कहते हैं?
लग रहा है, पहले नहीं लगता था, but now I think it is.
पहले मतलब कब?
मेरे हारने से पहले लगता था कि इटर्नल है.
कौन सी हार?
ये जो इलेक्शन में हारा अभी पार्लियामेंट में. So I think after that, to be very honest, I just hope it's total peace for all.
तो ये जो 2024 की जो हार है, it's hit you badly?
No, it's not hit me badly. People have expressed. It was a vote against Delhi. It was a vote against BJP. It was a vote against India also.
So Engineer Rashid won. So that was a vote against Delhi? Because many people say कि वो Engineer Rashid is Delhi's plant.
कैसे बोल सकते हैं? 5 साल जेल में है. How can you say that? I have nothing. You see, he has started his career with me, under me, in fact. He was from my father's. I got him from my father's virasa, political this thing. And there is no love lost between him and me. I don't have a lot of good opinion about him. But जब उमर अब्दुल्ला उसके बारे में बोलेगा, मैं खड़ा हो जाऊंगा. What is this यार? वो जेल में है. Who are you? What is this level of entitlement? Even if he was never the foreign minister. What were you doing as a foreign minister? Justifying every killing in Kashmir. What was he doing? उसके टाइम में क्या नहीं हुआ? There were communal rights in India, he did not resign. There was an internal autonomy resolution which was thrown out, he did not resign. And today he is passing moral judgments against Jamaat, against Engineer, against Sajjad, against independents, against everybody. ऐसा कैसा होगा? It's not. There was a sentiment. It was not a vote totally in his favor, Engineer's favor. It was a vote, it was an expression, चलो वो जेल में है, we'll show you where we are. So if Delhi does not understand it, fine. Problem is, BJP has a BJP policy in Kashmir. Through that BJP policy, they get votes across the country. But they don't have an India policy in Kashmir for Indianness, for getting Kashmiris into the mainstream, social mainstream, not the political mainstream. So वो problem है.
What is your solution to all this? What should the BJP do? What should India do?
You want to know the truth? The Prime Minister should apologize to the people of Kashmir and say that inadvertently, maybe, we might have done things which might have humiliated you. We might have done things which might have pained you. We did not do it unintentionally. It has been done unintentionally. You are a part of my body as any other state. We will try to rectify it. Give us another chance. And I'm telling you, if you use these words, everything will be fine. What you need is words.
So what you want basically is for Modi to become more like a Vajpayee? That Kashmiriyat, इंसानियत.
उस टाइम भी मार खाई है. तो मगर one thing was that he had a good way of मार. कांग्रेस उस वक्त भी मार खाई है. You see, when I was getting those blows, at that time Mufti Saab was the Home Minister, incidentally.
Yeah.
Janata Dal government was there. And one person I remember who fought for my release was Saifuddin Sosa. He was an MP, I think, and he went to every place. सब बंद हैं, बाप भी बंद है, because my brother was also in jail. He was released after 2 years. बाप भी जेल में है, बेटा भी जेल में है, दूसरा बेटा जेल में. What is this? किसी को तो छोड़ दो. And then they released me. But he actually went from office to office in Delhi to every minister that please release him. Then there was the Congress time. Mar continued. My father was again for 2 years in Tihar jail. Then Chandrasekhar Saab aa gaye. He shifted them. At that time he was in Jodhpur. He was a good man. He said, no, he has been a colleague Lone Saab during Janata Party time. Why have you put them there?
Now you're talking 88. अभी भी 90s नहीं आए.
नहीं, फिर 90s आए. पहले नहीं 89 में वो आए.
89.
जो ही वो आए तो फिर उसके 2 साल बाद फिर जो ही चंद्रशेखर साहब आए तो he shifted them to Mehrauli. Then they were released. Then after 2 years they were arrested again. फिर Congress time आया. At that time I remember my dad was in Tihar jail for 2 years, 1 or 2 years. Gilani Saab the, Lone Saab the, they were all there. So it was a very, there are many jails I have gone to. Almost all the jails with my mother. जोधपुर जेल, तिहाड़ जेल, जयपुर जेल, कौन सा जेल है जहाँ मुलाकात के लिए नहीं जाते थे. I'll tell you, सुमिता जी, मैं तब नया था, अभी वो एक्शन था So that British partly put on, partly real tha, hi, how are you tha. So we got a court order from the High Court that I should go and meet my father, me and my mother.
कब की बात है?
This is 1991. So we hadn't heard from our father. And he was a heart patient. And we were all worried. There was absolutely no communication. 90, I think 90, late 90s hoga. So I took my mom. We went to Delhi by air. From there we took a flight to Jodhpur, early flight. So, no, we stayed in Delhi for the night. Next morning we went to Jodhpur. And we went there inside, and there was a gentleman by the name of Biswa, Mr. Biswa. He was the superintendent of the jail. And he said that this is an order of the High Court and I should get it from my Home Secretary. So I said, do I have to go there? He said, no. The High Court has to give it to your Home Secretary, who will in turn send it to that Home Secretary. And then इसमें तो एक महीना लग जाएगा, what about it? I started, no, this. I started arguing with him. He said, okay, don't worry. You come after 2 o'clock and we will see what we can do. So I took my mom. We had booked in a hotel, a good hotel. And we went there, we had lunch and we came back. And I told them कि वो बिस्वा साहब ने 2 बजे बुलाया था. He said, बिस्वा साहब बोले होम सेक्रेटरी के पास जाकर मिल लो, अंदर अलाउड नहीं है. So I started shouting. I swear on God, motorcycle पर एक बंदा आया. He showed me his ID. He was from an intelligence agency, Central Intelligence Agency. He said, are you Sajjad Lone? I said, yes. And he told my mom, जब बुढ़िया ये तेरा बेटा 1 घंटे के बाद यहाँ देखा तो लाश लेकर जाएगी इसका. My hand on my arm. I said, क्या बोलता है? My mother slapped me tight. The auto came, उसको रोका, उसमें डाल दिया. होटल से वो निकाल के बोला सवाल ही मुझे आना ही नहीं है. These are the days we have seen. Very, very bad days. तो तब भी जनता दल की आई थी. I don't know. No, I think तब कांग्रेस आई थी और जनता दल. I don't remember. So हम चले गए. And then I met my father after 4 months because I was arrested in Delhi. तो वो जो इंट्रोगेशन कर रहे थे तो वो भी उसी एजेंसी की थे. मैंने साहब आपको राजस्थान वाला बड़ा ख़राब है. तो बोले क्यों, क्या किया उन्होंने? मैं बोला ऐसे करके. He was a good fellow and he said that, do you want to meet your father? He said, you may write an application. That is another way you can do it. हमने application लिखी, बाकी चीज़ किया. तो 7-8 दिन के बाद I was asked to go. So I went there and I met my father. And he was there in front of me. उनके ऊपर towel थी. My father was a minister for 4 years, cabinet minister. He was a lawyer. MLA रह चुके थे 10-15 साल. वहाँ खड़े थे ऐसे, मैंने नहीं पहचाना. My hand on my heart, I did not recognize. He said, बोलना. And I said, oh, what has happened to him? And he was very frail, thin, essay. And then he narrated, which I don't want to go into, the humiliation that was meted out to them there. They were stripped naked and made to go across the whole jail, the old ones. And then it was very humiliating, very, very humiliating. But after all that I have seen, I still believe that no, my future is with this country, still despite everything, which perhaps my father did not feel. तो आज भी मैं वही चाहता हूँ, but after all this pain and everything else, I just hope that those days don't come again. Which I believe that if we don't have some golden words from the leader of the nation, you know, it might, just these words, that's it, nothing else, 5 or 6 words, and everything will be fine. Kashmiri is very emotional, very emotional. He will just feel good. I'll tell you कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो they don't, थोड़ा सा I think they're in a pretension mode also. The whole country is so muscular that they want their leaders to be muscular in Kashmir.
हाँ, emotional बात, it's always said about Kashmiris ना, that जो ठोस कदम लेने भी होते हैं वो भी emotion के साथ ही लिए जाते हैं.
You see, for example, I'll tell you, one of the worst things that I have seen in 30 years is that when Kashmiri would go to Delhi, the moment you enter, so वो police will call someone. हाँ भाई पासपोर्ट देखो, ये नहीं दिखाओ किधर है, क्या करने आया, उग्रवादी है? नहीं सर, उग्रवादी नहीं है. थोड़ा धमकाना वमकाना बाकी चीज़. I think last year there was a hotel which refused accommodation to a Kashmiri because he's a Kashmiri. I think the government of the day closed that hotel, which was unique. But again, I think they could not advertise it because probably it would not have meant
unke political. Okay.
But that's the first time I have seen. Kabhi nahi hua, last 3 decades, no government at the center ever even remotely tried to stop this sort of prejudging or judgmental behavior by the hotel owners.
You know, Sajjad sahab, you mentioned that you were once arrested when aap ground floor pe the aur Yasin Malik was on the first floor. What are your views? Because you had said once, we may have 1,000 disagreements with Yasin Malik, but he deserves a fair trial. Do you feel that he's never got a fair trial?
देखिए, यासीन ने गन उठाया है, and I will never ever condone it because I'll never ask my children to pick up a gun. Neither will I pick up a gun. But he, right from college, I knew him much before he took up the gun, and he was a very dear friend. So I knew him very well. And as I said, 1,000 disagreements. Ab dekhiye, in the courts, in the media, they made as if he has surrendered and said, I don't want to fight my case. The reality is, the way I saw it, because the way I know him is, that he said that I don't have faith. या मुझे खुद प्लीड करने दो, तो खुद उसको प्लीड करने नहीं दिया उस टाइप का जो है, एंड दे convicted him for a lifetime in prison. तो मैं आज भी बोलता हूँ, I know it is going to anger many people. आप दे दीजिए उसको. You have the investigating agencies are apparently seeking a death penalty, if I am not wrong. कर दीजिए. But can anybody first know? Can we have the luxury of knowing who got Yasin Malik where he is? Yasin Malik was an activist, student activist, who wanted change in the mainstream. He wanted the national conference out. That was his sole, sin that he was committing. He was a worker of the MAF. And before he ever picked up the gun, you can check, there were 9 FIRs lodged against him. 9 FIRs. And just look at the FIRs. तब तो बंदूक को हाथ नहीं लगाया था. हाँ, पत्थर वत्थर मारा होगा कभी. That वो, as the area that they lived in, stone pelting was like a hobby. But 9 FIRs.
Doesn't matter. He picked up the gun, he shot somebody, he killed somebody, he said, admitted on.
We have to, okay, fine.
He admitted on camera.
You send him to gallows.
You were tortured, you were put in jail. Did you pick up the gun? Did you shoot?
No,
did you kill anybody?
I'm saying आप उसको punish कर दीजिए. I say, for life, whatever the law. But ask them also, that why are you a factory of, creating aggrieved people? After all, at the end of the day, when somebody is shot, बदनाम कौन होता है? मुल्क बदनाम होता है ना. They see the young child dying. Why did they have to rig elections? And why isn't anybody saying about
a rigged election is justified enough to pick up the gun and kill innocent civilians? Is that okay?
No, I'm not justifying it under any circumstances. All I'm saying is that if you push people to the wall, where not one, but thousands pick up gun. Thousands picking up gun is not a normal thing. It's an abnormal thing. Either those 1,000 people are abnormal or abnormal conditions have been created. Had it been one incident, you could have said there is some psycho. But you can't call thousands of people. It means they have been pushed to the wall. And the person who has pushed them to the wall also needs to be asked, कि भाई साहब, election हार जाते, तो कौन सा उतना तूफान होना था? And in the name of national interest, nobody is asking. Even BJP, till date, has never talked about 87. Never.
Yes. That's true.
And if you today, I will tell you something. There is one of their uncles, I was talking to him 10 years back, 15 years back, 10 years back. So uncle was again gaga about that uncle is NC uncle. So I was not talking to the other uncle, I was talking to the NC uncle. And this is around 12 years back. He was talking about A, B, C, D. So bola Sajjad, I said, I want to ask you something. I'll give you a hypothetical situation. Say some madcap comes to power in Kashmir. slightly radical, slightly semi-separatist, and he says, I'm not going to leave these people who have been involved in killing Kashmiris. I'll put them behind the bars. I'll do A, I'll do B, I'll do C, and say he or she wins. And then it's breaking news, he's won, now he's going to the secretariat, he has called this, and immediately he issues an order that arrest the Abdullahs, arrest whosoever has ever ordered to shoot Kashmiris. What do you think? He said, people will come on the streets to protest. I said, no, sir. People won't go home for 7 days. They will rejoice. And that exactly happened when we were all in jail. A certain element of there was a deja vu, and they were saying, good, that's what they deserve. So, point is that the political evolution, the luxury of a political evolution that you had in all the states in India, that luxury was never there. This is not political evolution. There is not a lot of natural evolution. There's a lot of things. Evolution has been facilitated or enabled.
I asked you earlier, now I'll ask you towards the conclusion, that if you are part of a government formation after the elections in October, what can you do to restore faith of Kashmiris in India? What can you do to bring back Kashmiri Pandits to what they used to be in this state? What can you do to restore statehood? 3 things that I'm asking you.
See, statehood can only be restored by the parliament. We can't. And I think there should be a policy for all the people who are elected that beyond a certain time, if they don't give us state back, then we should stop. We should actually leave the assembly. There is no point being a part of an assembly which is a humiliation. I think 1 year or 2 years or 6 months or 3 months, after that, we should all en masse resign and leave.
एक time period आप कह रहे हैं?
Yes.
ठीक है.
Yes, this will be our political response. That fine, if you don't want to give us, we don't want to be a part of this assembly. Because this will create, people will think we are not delivering. We can't tell them कि साहब LG साहब फाइल पर बैठे हैं, Chief Secretary साहब फाइल पर बैठे हैं. That will be the peak of humiliation. We have been ministers. Farooq Abdullah Sahab has been a chief minister, Umar is chief minister, Madam has been a chief minister, Mufti Mehboobaji, and all of a sudden, we would literally be lauded over by the same set of bureaucrats, right? That I think we should not do. We should not betray our people beyond a certain time. If we don't get statehood, there should be a clear unanimity that we should then leave. Okay. This is what I believe. As far as if statehood, because we can only work towards an economic Kashmir if we have statehood. Because without statehood, there is very little you can do. You can't pass money bills. You can't pass anything. You cannot do anything. So I honestly would have thought that we should have a blueprint for employment. The biggest problem that we have today is that we are churning out people in millions, literally, or lakhs, I would have thought, and not even 10% of jobs of equivalent, 10% of jobs we are not being able to create. We need job creation, and for that, I think we need
private sector.
We need the private sector. Otherwise, there is no way that public sector can actually. And I think we need to mainstream skill. This is for the entire country. When I say mainstreaming skill, I believe that skill, so-called skill, has a stigma attached to it. It doesn't come under formal education. We have to take steps to bring it at par with formal education, master it. So from 12th itself, in the same school, you do a course in carpentry, you do a course in bakery, you do a course in hairdressing, you do a course in makeup or whatever. There's thousands of jobs across the world, you know. So these are the things I believe I have out of the box solutions, and I hope we get a opportunity. And as far as tourism is concerned, I think we are 5 or 7% of the GDP, or 9, I don't remember. I think our capacity in terms of GDP can go up to 25%. We have not realized even, I think, 5 or 10% of our potential. There's a huge chance. And in 89, when militancy came in, we were dependent on the Gora tourist. Now, during that
domestic
time, now it is a huge upper middle class. And today, people here, the hoteliers, they're looking for those upper class who tip heavily, who pay heavily. This is the new Indian tourist. It's not the old one, who are new, who want to enjoy their life, who don't. They do look at prices, but not, you know, the good paymasters. We have some of the top hotels. I think some of the highest rates in the world probably
Yeah.
are in Gulmarg, or the hotels like this one. So I think that one of the most untapped sectors is tourism, and I think horticulture, but scientific horticulture. High density with drip irrigation, the most scientific, where the yield per acre is very high, and also scientific methods to market it, not to throw your produce, overproduce and have a crash in prices, which I think they have done well in terms of, that's one good thing that they have done is the cold stores, where the life of the apple is, so you don't have a rush of apples. So these are the things that I believe, and at the end of the day, we all should get together and reach out to the people and say that yes, there have been things which we may not have liked, which I told you the leader of the nation should say is